Welcome to my new tutorial. It's about a little scene in Polperro. First of all, I've done a little drawing of it, a tonal drawing. And to be honest, I think that's probably the best way to go, because if you was to go along with the actual scene and try and paint the scene from reality, you struggle. And also, I don't think it gets the mood as much as painting from your own tonal drawing works. So first of all, I'm going to just drop a little bit of colour in here and a bit of little blue to that there. A little bit green now. I'm just going to change my water first. Bear with. It's not a good sign, is it? When you start off with horrible colour. It's my own fault for not changing my bloody water. Right, okay. Let's give that a bit of, put a bit of blue and a little bit of this red in there, just to counteract that. A little bit of red in there now. Right, I'm just going to add some water there, just to let that run down over the whole scene. May as well. I'll just add a little bit of mood in here now by putting a little bit of orange in, I think, into the whole scene. We'll cover it up. And this is very much a white building, but you know, I'm going to just add some different colours here. A little bit of rose opera there, and what else should we put? Let's go back to this blue there. We want to. Don't forget, this is all going to dry very much lighter. I'll turn this light off. I don't think I need this light on. There we go. Let that run down nicely, and I'll just add water, clean water, to this area here. And at the bottom here we'll add some colour, some of these reflecting colours. I've just got a big hair on there. We don't want that, do we? Right, let's get a bit of brown on there, a little bit of burnt sienna over there. What's this? It's a bit of Payne's grey, that. Don't usually like putting grey on at this stage, but we'll put it on some parts. I've just added different bits of colour just along the scene, just to give it a little bit of mood. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's covered all the white bits up. That's no good. Should always leave white, and that is true. Should always leave your lights. But I use my little magic brush here, my little handkerchief, and lift out those areas that want to remain quite light. At the same time, it kind of runs together now, and I've got some boats around here. I'm going to lift out those bits there. We're going to have the sunshine on this side, so we'll put a bit of light on that building there. Yeah. And on there. And then we can just scoop that off there and wait till that bit dries. Hey, welcome back, and now as you can see, that's all dried. It's all dried to the touch and much lighter than we put it on, so you always have to compensate. Now we've got some warm colours here, and a little bit yellow there. It's equally warm colour, and some cool colours down here. And if you can, try and think in terms of warm colours and cool colours, rather than blues and oranges and that lot. Just think of warms and cools, and I think it's quite helpful. So the next thing I'm going to do is, we've got a couple of buildings in the background here, so I'm going to just mix a little colour of this blue that we was using there, and a little bit of this rose colour. Right, now let's see how that goes, shall we? So in the back, let's see where it is. We're not going to be too precious about this, just get a couple of marks in here. Just mark so that you know that we've got buildings in the background, and then you don't have to worry about putting too much detail in your scene. And just lift out that. And we've got a roof which goes over there, right away across. There we go. And I'm going to just add a bit of water. Something on there. On an edge over there, so we'll bring this down. This is just water, so we'll still have that yellowy glow coming through, but we're still fetching that pigment down a little bit. We don't want it to look too off shot. And sometimes it's good just to leave a couple of these little holes in these background details. I'm going to go right across there, because this is where our important building is. That's going to go right the way across to the end of my paper there. There we are. Right, I'll just blend that in. Right, let that do its job. And I'm going to add the same colour over to here, because it's not such an important building. And we're going to come straight down there, straight down there. And let's add a bit of warmth to that, that building there, that colour. I'm happy with that. That's looking blinking good. Right. So the next thing we want to do is, let's get some indication, a bit of warm colour and a bit of cool colour, and make a mixture there of these two colours together. So that was Opera Rose and Ultramarine Blue for this part here. This is the part where there's a little wall, and we've got the steps going down there. So now, from my original drawing of this scene, I changed my mind, and I changed the picture slightly to what it's going to be now. There's a little bit of bitumen, so what it's going to be. I changed the shape of the bolts, the way some of them are directed, and you'll be able to see those changes on the on the picture that I'm gonna, the drawings that I'm gonna upload to my Patreon site. If you want to download that, it's going to be available there for you. Right, now I'm going to wait until that dries and stains before I pull a little bit more out to cover those steps. I want a deep stain on that, so I'm going to, in fact, what I'm going to do at the very bottom of there, just going to add a little bit of this bitumen and let it do its work for me. Now, let's make that colour again. There we go. On this side bit, we've got a nice little bush there, growing out of the wall. I think it will be seaweed inspired. Okay, we'll do that. And a little bit of this bitumen just over here. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. And make it obvious that we've left a little gap there in the wall. Now, I'm just going to, these are just like warms and cools that I'm adding in here. While all this is drying, this is a little marker for us that we know. Now, this is starting to dry a little bit now, which is good. So I'm going to put a little bit of clean water here. Watch this. It just pulls down a little bit, and that's alright. That's just what I want. And we'll make a mixture of that. There we go. Some nice bit of colour in there. Paint's great around that area. This is not going to dry much nicer, much lighter. I'll be able to work on that then. Right. And we'll go for a little bit of burnt sienna now around this area. A bit of burnt sienna down there. Just careful around these boats now. Sometimes when the sea goes out, you end up with a bit of bits of seaweed or greenery which is grown underneath on the water. So it's good to indicate just a few little blobs of that there. Let it all merge in. Let it merge in. Indicate bits of greenery. Bit of olive green here now. In between there, let's just cut around these boats here. And a little bit of the burnt sienna coming around there. Yeah. I got some of this colour in again here. And the fun is to see all these little shades and colours and tones, see them all merging in together. and let the painting do the painting. There we go. That, I think, is what makes watercolour so special. Now, I don't want to really cover all this stuff up, so I'm just going to add a bit of water here. Like that. Let's lift some of that out there. I'll just have a couple of blobs and there's just splash a few things around there. Now I'm going to let that dry naturally, because what happens is when you dry with a hairdryer, I feel, I mean, it might not be right, but from my experience, all that you lose that lovely granulated effect. It kind of, where it's dropping down into the paint, into the paper. When you hairdry, it excites it and brings it all back up again. So you lose a lot of this. See this lovely granulation effect there, and we're hoping that, like usually, when you dry it naturally, it sinks down and the water just evaporates, and you leave these lovely little areas, especially if you've used a bit of burnt sienna. Burnt sienna and ultramarine, they're great little granulation mediums, really. So I'm just adding a few things in here and hoping they'll granulate for me. I'll be very happy with that. Now I'm just going to lift that up, drag it out, and with that as well. Right, I'm going to go and get a cup of tea. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Welcome back. Now I'm going to get a mixture together of like a greyish colour, but I want it to have a hint of blue in it, so I'm adding a bit of the ultramarine, and we make that, so give it an opposite colour, which is this burnt sienna, and that should turn it into a bit of a cooler grey. Let's get it the right shade. Don't want to go warm. That's alright. We're going to try. This is for this roof area. So first of all, we'll have a little chimney pot there, and this is where the chimney stack is. Right, what we do not disturb on, getting little pings of people sending me texts. Right, so I'll come this down a little bit, go down here with this. Now once you've got this base colour in here, now we can add a little bit of extra colour to this. Let's add a little bit of warmth with a little bit of purple as well. Let's make this mixture up. There we got a bit of this upper rose, a little bit of the, well, that's quite a lot there, wasn't it? More upper rose. Right the way across. Now let's get some of that grey again. There we go. That's it now, just with a thirsty brush, just lift that area up here. There we go. And this part here, let's just pull that down a wee bit. I don't want a big blob of shadows there. Now, this actual thing should remain as light as possible. So I'm going to just add a little bit of grey over here. And just popping in now and again, and it just brings little bits of it down, and I'm happy with that. There we go. There we are. Now, this, if I darken this part here, it will show this to be much lighter. So I'm going to give this a bit of texture by lifting out little bits around the edges, which I'm happy with. We'll give it a dry first before we go into that. This part is dried. It's still a little bit touch damp up there, but we're going to be working on this part. I need a cool colour to the back there, so I'm adding a little bit of that. What colour is that now? Forget here, that's a little bit of a nicer colour there for this. And I'm going to add a little bit of brown to it. Oh, there's the brown there. Right. It was Prussian blue that down there. Now, we've got a wall here, and this wall is going to identify the shape of this white building there. Now, this wall, I'll make it a little bit of an uneven top there. Bring it further over there. Right, now this area I want to lift some of this out because it's overlapping and I don't like that. So and here we've got steps. That'll be coming down there. I've come a bit too far down there, so I'll lift some of that out. And bring it over to there. Because this part here is going to be a bit of pavement which goes in front of that, and bring this up just up to that one area. Now let's get that shadow going over here. I want it to appear to be quite a bright day, so these shadows here I'm going to leave very crisp at the edge. The crisper the edge, the stronger the sun. That's what I say. Thirsty brush, lift up some of that. go. That's fine. I'm going to go right the way across the bottom of this part here. There we go. It's a bit counterintuitive there, so I wasted my time then, didn't it? There we go. And if you're wondering, this paper is 400 GSM. I got big piece and chopped it into quarters. So it was one big shot. There we go. Right. Now these windows here are a lovely blue colour. Let's call the blue Peter in, yeah. So I think what we might do is just bring that in over there. I'll just do the full window area in that one colour, because we're going to go into there in a bit and find our shadows. That's okay. Boom, boom. There we are. Now I think we should leave that to dry before we do any more damage. I'm sipping my coffee. Now let's have a look at this using this grey colour. Let's see if we manage to do what we wanted to do. We need to just identify these edges, these steps. Don't matter if you put the right amount of steps or not, no one's going to beat you up about it. And you don't need any rulers for this kind of stuff, and we'll put a big line of shadow down there. And the same on this side, yeah. And bring that around over there. Bit of water there. Thirsty brush now. Let's some of that off. I'm going to soften this edge here. I'm just using a thirsty brush to bring the edge of that paint away. That's okay. Now, and with the edge of this here, this part here, and we'll match a wee shadow over there. There we go. Right. At the top over here, we'll just revisit that. Now, let's put a couple of lines in there to indicate that this was a roof area, or is a roof area. Can build that up later if needs be. This is the little porch area. and I'll just a little bit in shade. Actually, I'll just lift some of that out. There we are. And this bit over here, we'll have a roof. Put that colour in over there. So now we're basically just like drawing with this brush now. These little higgledy-piggledy bits. And that's fine. Whenever you're drawing with a brush, always make sure you use the tip and not the side of the brush. Now, I'll just leave that to dry a second. Welcome back. Just going to put a bit of detail in these windows. So I'm going to use a bit of this bitumen brown there, added with that grey shade that we put together, and just I don't want it to be too neat because I need to put another shade in a bit on top of it. So just put the shape of the windows in there. That's it. It's all about just suggesting. Don't overstate. Now we've got a part going across there. Not that it's that important. Maybe important to the architect, but not really to us. We're just concentrating on a pretty painting. And we'll have that there. Just with the tip of the brush there, and here we're going to have a flagpole there, and there's going to be a flag. There's some red colours in there, so just to identify it as a flag. Now, a bit darker now. So we've got a bit of Payne's grey and this bitumen, it's called. Now we've got 1, 2, 3, so it's a bit damp there, so I should leave that. I'll just let that off. I'll come back to that in a bit. Have we got the ability to just add a little bit of darker colour at the top of these, and because it's a little bit damp still, it should run down nicely. There we go. I think we'll just add a little bit of undercolour under the eaves there. Looks quite nice there. Bring that down a wee bit. Now I'm going to just dry those windows a second with my hairdryer. Do it, get that hairdryer on there. I've just got the hairdryer on there, let it do its stuff. Now a little bit of Payne's Grey and a bit of bitumen. Now then, just in the middle here, we just have a little shadow. It looks like the light has cast this shadow just over the top part there. Over the top part. It just makes these windows a little bit more believable. And over there. Now we have got 1, 2, 3. There's probably more windows than that, but I'm really not that bothered about that. This is very dark paint on here. That's okay. Now I'm going to create a shadow across there. So I think we'll make a shadow of upper rows. And ultramarine blue. A bit more ultramarine blue. A bit more upper rows. Even that out a little bit. Let's just see how that goes. Shadows coming across there, lights coming across there. Just a little bit of that there. Now I think a little bit of a bit of that to there, just warm that up there. And just take away some of that. It was a bit harsh there. And I'm going to just lift some of these shades around here. And add a little bit of texture to this beautiful old building. Right, now it's got a bit of writing over here. It says Blue Peter Inn, but I don't want to be writing it in properly, so I'm just going to infer there's got some text over there. So once you start writing words in, it just doesn't look right. So, but now they've just that. Well, just have to just. It looks like it's got proper letters. Okay, that'll do. Now, bit of the shadow over here now. Right over there. I've got some little mixtures of colours going on there. A little bit of warm colour under here now. That's okay. And then this part here, we've got a bit of this sienna with the shadow colour and things. Just across the top of there, just little bits. Break it up. That's some neat Payne's Grey here. Right, I think we'll leave that bit for a while and we'll move on down to these other elements. Slurpy the old copy. Let's get a little bit of green into here. This is just neat phthalo green light. And I'll bring that down there as well. Right. Now there's a bit of a shape, another shape in here, which you'll want to just suggest. So, and this shape at the foreground is a little bit lighter than all the other stuff. So I'll just put a couple of blob of pigment in there and just let it move around to there. Okay, I think that'll do there. Right, now let's get some of these boats painted. I want to show a nice light top to that, but I think this boat deserves a little bit of red over here. It just needs a little bit of brightness. It deserves it. Now, underneath there, this is in the shadow area, so we'll create a shadow area. That's a warm shadow. Let's add a bit of coolness to this shadow now as it goes down to the bottom. A bit of warmth again. And just with a damp brush, just bring that over there to the shape. It looks like the light's casting that shadow over to that side. And with this part here, we'll put a little bit of a shadow underneath there. And a shadow underneath that shape there. Right, I think we're going to go a lovely warm colour for the shape of this boat. And the underside of the boat, the hull, as it comes down there, I'll add a bit of a darker colour, so I'm going to add a bit of Payne's grey and bitumen, a bit more Payne's grey, and a bit of blue actually, make it really pop. And I'm going to fix this dark shadow on the underside of those boats as well. It's all the same tone. I'll move it along to all these. Now I don't like things which are separated, so I'm going to move that right up to there. So join this boat with a shadow. And then all that needs to go right around the back here. And do some squiggly lines over here. Just a bit of dampness and shadows and gubbins. Now we're going to infer that something's out of sight here. The way to do that is just fetch a shadow in. There. We don't know what's there. Could be something tall, it might have a big mast. Something going on over there. And it joins to that part there. Right. Now that deepness, we can continue on with that same tone. Over here. And just at the bottom. There. Little marks over it just to show that something's not quite perfectly straight. And okay, now shadow underneath this area here. Go back, it wasn't too dark enough. There we go. Let's leave that to dry for a minute and come back soon. Okay, welcome back. It's all taking shape now. Now I'm going to put a little bit of detail in these boats. So it's all dried up. Some of these little flotilla things, whatever they're called, buoys, I'm going to make these a lovely orange colour, like a cadmium orange colour here. So just on one side, because I want it to be more intense on that side than it is on this side. I want to show the light showing, but I'm going to join these up a little bit. There we go, and we'll do the same here. While we've got paint on our brush. Right, let's just lift some of this paint off. It's a little bit intense. Too much paint on there really. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of water, a bit of clean water to this, and bring them over there. The same with that, just a little bit of water, clean water on there. Let's lift some of this pigment out. Lift some out there, because it's just going to flood over really. Just add a bit of water to this now. And the same here. There we go. Now, I want one of these boats to be an orange colour. This one here. It's one of those little boats that you can take out and get yourself into your big boat. And these usually look dotted along the sides of the harbours. And I think I'll put a bit of purple in there. Just there, like that. I'll lift some of this paint out, and I'm going to add a little bit of this bitumen on this side, just on this side. little bit of shadow there as well. Okay, now this bolt here is quite an important bolt because he's going to join this up to there. So we'll make him another warm colour. Let's add a little bit of this burnt sienna to that orange, and I'm just going to paint this side here, and just a little tip around there. Now add some water to that so it's quite a loose wash, and even more water to that, so it's only a very loose wash. And this side is going to be a bit shadowy, so I've got a bit of shadow colour over there, and I'm going to water there, nice clean water, and I think we'll put a little bit of page grey over that part there to run down. And under that little hidey hole under there. Now, you've got to be very careful here, so you have to have a pretty decent hand here. So we're going to come down, then we'll go up actually, we'll just roll this sleeve up, and from there we're going to go straight up there and a bit further on, I think. Okay, and we're going to just a couple of squiggly lines over there, and a little bit of this brown. A little thicker over there, and that line a little more prominent. And just with the tip of the brush, just create a couple of lines there. There. Now, I'm going to put a little sail over there, nice and soft. Let that dry out and do its stuff. It's going to blend across. Don't want it to blend too much at the bottom, so I'm going to just lift any moisture out here, bring it out with a thirsty brush, just lifting out. There we go. Now I want to leave this white because I think it's very important that we keep that light. So, but I'm going to intensify this red over there. Right, now then, these oranges need to be a little bit darker underneath there. So add a little bit of a red to these little flotillas. And I'm probably calling it wrong, it's probably not a flotilla, probably something completely different. But I don't worry about that. And we'll have another little orangey bit, little thing at the top. Now, as that's going up there, we're joining up this picture now. So there's a little bit of Payne's grey, bitumen, and let's have a little bit of purple in this. Right, okay. So, starting from the bottom. Right there. So we're just painting a couple of little squiggly bits in there. And with the very tip, a couple of lines underneath this part here needs to be very strong shadow. Just to soften that edge a little bit, bring it down, and the shapes, the shadows underneath here, under there, and a couple of lines coming down, and a little brace there, and a little hole for the window, and we can have a little hole for the window here. For the door really, couldn't it be? So we'll put the indication that that's a door. Now at the bottom and back here, a little tiller. There we go. Right, now then this one here, I'll add just a bit of shadow to this part here. It's very much in shadow, but I'm going to lighten that with a bit of colour. There. Touch that. There you go. That will do nicely. And there's another little boat sticking its nose out there. And we'll do the same with that. We'll give him a bit of cool shadow there. And just a bit of orange with this fella. It's a runaway flotilla, oh boy. And we'll get just underneath there. And a little bit of shadow underneath it. Yeah, I think that'll be alright. And we're going to put a little line across there. And put some rope around there. Now underneath this red part we can add a little shadow. Right, now this part here is supposed to be in shadow, so we're going to give him a very cool shadow colour. There we go. And then the next part we're going to just have a look underneath this, these eaves of this house here. That's a very cool shadow there. and I use just a bit of this colour here to add some windows there, and some windows, where do they go to? So, up to there. So the windows are over there, and I'm just going to bring this up. I'm going to feed that shadow up out of it and do the same with that. And we can come down now with there, come down back with that. Well, I think we're pretty much getting there now, guys. Not too much of a lot there. And this is the part where you start to fiddle, and then you start to mess it all up. But I'm going to put a bit of green there. I think we're going to call that finished. So all that needs to be done now is put my name at the bottom, which is very important. So M Jackson. There you go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this and you picked some little tips up, and you take it away, build it in your own personal armour, and this painting will be available for sale. First one to get it is very, very clever. So enjoyed painting it, and I hope you enjoyed following along. Thank you very much. Bye.